Hello, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Gamma Geotracker information system and my experience with it doing this research. And I'm also going to talk about some things that could make this service better and how I solved an issue I ran into it. So we're going to start off by looking at Geotracker itself and what we can get from it. And I'm going to run a quick query, so we're going to look at all wells, we're going to look at nitrate, and we're going to use all years. The geographic unit that we used for our research were groundwater basins. So I'm going to set that up. I'm going to look at the central basin. Alright, so one thing that I like about the Geotracker is that it gives a visual representation of the wells. However, as you zoom in, you'll notice that the number of wells that appear changes depending on how far you are out. So in order to get a visual of all the wells, you have to be consistently, zooming in and scrolling. You can't zoom out and get a picture that way because it removes some of the points. It simplifies it. Furthermore, there's no way to take this out as basically as a shapefile. A shapefile would be very useful for those working with spatial analysis because you can do the analysis with the tools provided in, say, ArcMap. However, what we can get from this is, I'm going to go ahead and download a spreadsheet. So I'm going to save it to my desktop, open it up and take a quick look at it. And so this is all great data, but when we take a look at it, we'll see that it's basically a data dump. It's not coming in any particular order, I don't think, and the information is great, but these are individual samples. And for example, here there's 2 samples from the same well, and here's another 2 from different dates, and it's just all jumbled up. And so to be able to use this, a user would have to go in and basically organize it, sort, basically massage the data a little bit to be able to use it. And it's a lot of data, as you can see here. If this could be summarized in a way that would be easier for the user, it would be less daunting, but right now it's just being basically dumped on them. Now, a better way that would be more efficient to present this information would be through an API, an application programming interface, or an XML feed. Transit services do a really good job of providing this information. I'll give you an example here of one. And this is a format that is really easy for the computer to read and to organize. Here we have a name of a route and its information, and all the stops pertaining to that route organized underneath it, and additional information. And so programs can go and retrieve this data. So whenever there's a change here, the programs depending on this information are automatically updated. Whereas in Geotracker, whenever there's a new sample added, the user would have to go in and download and go through the whole process again. So next I'm going to talk about an application that I developed specifically for our research that produced a summary of the data from what's provided in Geotracker. Okay, so this is a custom program that I developed using several open source code packages using Microsoft Visual Studio as a platform for development. And so we're going to run this program real quick and show you what it does. Alright, it's a really basic, simple user interface. It has basically the same options that you have on the Geotracker website. We're going to run basically the same query that we ran earlier. So we're going to go to the central basin. We're going to look at nitrates. We're going to look at all and all. What we're telling it to do is to run the same query, but in addition to providing us the data, it will organize it and summarize it and do some initial analysis on it. So right now what it's doing, it's contacting the Geotracker online, so it needs to be connected to the internet to work, and retrieving that same table that we downloaded earlier. However, it's parsing it, reading it, and organizing by well, and doing all of this beforehand so that we don't have to do it. And it takes a few seconds to run. Okay, now it prompts us for to save a shapefile. We're going to call it test file, and we're going to save it to the desktop real quick. And it says complete, so we can close out of that. And there we can see that the files are on my desktop. So next we're going to open ArcMap and take a look at the outputs of this program. Okay, we are now in ArcMap, and I went ahead and preloaded a base map as well as the outline for the central basin. We're going to go and upload the shapefile that we created. So there's the test file. Okay, and here we go. As you can see that all the points appear no matter at what degree you zoom in. So you get a good idea of the spatial characteristics of these wells. Now, this is just like the Geotracker visual interface where you see the map, except the data is already included. And so if we select one of these wells, we'll see that it carries some of the information that I asked it to produce, as well as brings some of it over from the data obtained from Geotracker, such as the ID, the name of the well, its location, as well as the trend and the R-square of the trend. That's what I asked it to do, and any other type of analysis that's required for that individual well can be calculated here, as well as the last sample of the well. It also contains a link here, which links directly to the Geotracker and provides a chart of the change over time for that well in terms of its concentration of the nitrate. And all this is available on Geotracker, but you have to click through a little bit to get to this. But here on the shapefile, it's all available right in front of you in one location. The great thing about this, though, is that now you have all the tools, the spatial analyst tools available in ArcMap to be able to analyze this. And so if Geotracker Gamma could export shapefiles, that would be a major improvement. And if not, if it could have some sort of API or XML feed, that would make this process a lot easier instead of just dumping the data on the user and basically leaving up to them to create custom programs. It would be very beneficial to everyone. Now, it's possible, I've demonstrated, and this type of usability can be added, I believe, to the Geotracker.